Today, Rishi Sunak was grilled in the liaison committee. But before we get going, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and press the notification button, and also comment below. Let us know what you think. So, I picked out a great question from Angus MacNeil, an SNP MP, who asked Sunak a difficult question about why the Republic of Ireland is doing so well. And I am actually Welsh, although I've lived in England for a long time. So I do take a passionate view of the devolved nations. And I also remember that Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland didn't vote for Brexit. And lots of people turn around and say, Wales voted Brexit. Well, look, the referendum didn't decide anything. It was a poll, an advisory poll. The decision for this Brexit was made when Boris Johnson's deal was voted on in Parliament. Decisions are made in Parliament. They're not made by the people. That is the system that we have. And this Brexit that we have was decided when Parliament voted for Boris Johnson's deal. Admittedly, Britain voted in a majority Conservative government in 2019, 43%, thanks to our first past the post system, voted in Boris Johnson, an 80-seat majority, which meant that his deal was going to get through, no trouble at all. But we need a new voting system, in my view. We need to modernise our voting system. Only Russia and Belarus have this first past the post system together with Britain. And I think it probably is one of the reasons why people felt liberated with Brexit, because they felt for once their vote mattered. But anyway, let's get back to Angus MacNeil's question. And he, you know, when you think about leaving the European Union, and then you think about the United Kingdom, they're both unions, and the difference is that the UK could leave the EU despite the fact the devolved nations didn't want to go ahead with this deal. They didn't want to leave the European Union. And that gives you an idea of the imbalance that we've got, the English power within the UK. And Brexit has opened this cavernous wound, which, is going to continue with the fracturing of the United Kingdom, as was warned before the Brexit referendum. It was inevitable. But the numbers are in England, aren't they, rather than in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland. And with a first-past-the-post system, it means that the other nations don't get a look in. In Europe, of course, in the EU, it's a completely different thing. Yes, the bigger countries, the wealthier countries have more power, but everyone has a veto. In the UK, there is no veto. So anyway, have a listen.
Final point, Prime Minister. Currently, the Republic of Ireland is in a surplus of about £10 billion. The Scottish Government are having a £1.5 billion shortfall. What are the broad shoulders of the UK? Isn't independence doing better for Ireland than being in the UK is for Scotland?
Well, the Scottish Government has received record funding from the UK
Not as much as the Irish Government,
both the block
independent.
Again, just answer the question. Both the block grant and the most recent autumn statement mean that the Scottish Government is receiving a record amount of money from the UK Government. On top of that, the UK Government is investing directly in Scottish communities through the Levelling Up Fund and other such areas. And the UK Government is now cutting taxes for Scottish families, kicking in January. Now, obviously, if the Scottish Government has chosen to make different choices, that's for them, but we're very clear that we want to cut taxes for Scottish families because that's how we can help them with the cost of living, and we're able to do that because we're managing the economy well.
Giving tax cuts does not help anyone in Britain, particularly ordinary people, because it means that there isn't enough money to run public services. And I'm sure that the devolved nations would rather have their own thriving economies in the single market than relying on handouts from Westminster. We really need to get back in the single market somehow as quickly as possible. But also, as a reminder, guess who else was a big backer of Brexit? Watch this.
Но что ей делать? Она должна исполнять волю народа, высказанную на референдуме. Или это тогда вообще не референдум? Кому-то не понравилось снова и снова. Ну, это что, демократия, что ли? Это я посмотрю, как будут оценивать критики этого процесса ситуацию, когда и если на этот Brexit наплюют и снова будут проводить до тех пор все эти мероприятия, пока они кого-то не удовлетворят.